Good evening, I am at CF3Loyal on Twitter, staying at home every other Saturday, and I'm absolutely delighted to be joining you for the second consecutive evening, looking ahead to the Rangers squad next season, especially on the 15th anniversary of Helicopter Sunday, which proved that the season isn't over until it's over, and it was also our 51st league title. Seems so long ago now. I am massively overwhelmed with the fact that my first ever YouTube video yesterday had 234 views inside the last 24 hours. I'm hoping tonight's will beat that, so please continue to view and share, spread the word, massively appreciated. I was chuffed to have my first YouTube subscriber. Thank you, mate. And I'm now up to 13. I'm absolutely buzzing with that. The feedback has been scarily positive from most of you, but you can always rely on your friends and family to be brutally honest. I've had, mate, you spent 10 minutes talking about a goalkeeping position. It's true, but when you start talking about Rangers, you could literally sit here all night. I've had, has your forehead grown inside lockdown? No, it's my lockdown haircut, thanks to my wife. And then lastly, you've always liked the sound of your own voice. Cheers, Dad. So I'm going to put my tin hat on for tonight because I think tonight's topic could be a little bit more controversial. And as Mark Warburton always said, we go again, and tonight we will be talking about centre forwards. So I'm not going to dwell on formation because we could be here all night debating whether or not we think that Rangers, Steven Gerrard, his coaching team are playing the right formation. For tonight's video, I'm going to focus on the fact that we have been, under the 2 years of Steven Gerrard, playing one striker, and therefore I'm going to base tonight's video on the fact that I think we're going to continue to have one striker. We would all like to have the best striker. Rangers were of course blessed with the best ever striker in Scottish football. That was Alistair Murdoch McCoist, MBE. But for the last couple of years we've had Alfredo Morelos, and I think if you look at what an ideal centre forward is in the modern game, you're looking for somebody who can lead the line, hold the ball up, create something out of nothing, and of course get important goals. And I think particularly in the Europa League and certainly in the first 6 months of the year, Alfredo Morelos done just that. And if I was doing this video in say December, January time, I would have absolutely no hesitation to sit here and say that Alfredo Morelos is and should be the Rangers' #1 striker as we go into the next period. But unfortunately, Alfredo's not had a great time of it post-Christmas, post-New Year, and it's difficult to know if personal circumstances have came into it. There was rumours that his mum wasn't well. His wife is pregnant, is now giving birth to a beautiful baby girl. And then there was the whole scandal around the private investigator. So it's difficult to know if that all factored into a dip in form in 2020. But we also need to recognise we do have a young striker, bags of potential and a huge ability on our hands. And I think that Rangers have set a price tag. Now, the rumoured price tag in January was £20 million. And I believe that we're pretty strong on our view that we will not sell Alfredo Morelos for anything less than 20 million. Now, the whole environment's changed since COVID-19, and it's difficult to know whether Rangers will want to sell. Some people might say that we're £11 million in debt. But I don't think we're desperate to sell Alfredo, because we'll be looking at how do we replace Morelos with someone of that level of quality. So my view on our #1 striking position is Alfredo Morelos will still be here unless we get a bid of £20 million plus. And if we do get that bid, we'll be looking for somebody of a similar style of player as Morelos. If we do go into next season with Morelos, I will be happy because he's a big game player. He won us a lot of games on his own, particularly in the Europa League, as I said. He was probably the only player capable of doing that until Yanis Hadji came in January, which I'm going to talk about our number 10s tomorrow night, and I'll talk about what Hadji can bring if we do go on and sign him as expected. But I think until Hadji came in, Morelos was probably that one player that could create something out of nothing. And I think if he did leave, then we need to replace that. But if he does stay, and it's a big but, he needs to deliver. Quite simply, we can't have a striker not scoring goals, and I think he lost his aggression in the second half of the season after his sending off at Celtic Park. We need to have him firing all cylinders. My biggest concern with Morelos is the club, quite rightly, during breaks, allow him to go home to see his family, spend time in his village. And when he's doing that, he's obviously doing some fantastic charitable work, and for that I literally tip my hat to him. Massive respect for everything he does for his village and his community. But he needs to make sure he's training. He needs to make sure that when he comes back to Glasgow, he's ready to hit the ground running. Because my first controversial statement of the evening is, in January, when he came back, he was overweight and off the pace. And unfortunately, when you're a striker at Rangers, you can't be off the pace. And it's not good enough. And my worry about Morelos is he needs to be playing games, he needs to be training to shift that weight. So if we dropped him and brought in our number 2 striker, which I'll talk about next, he won't lose the weight. So it's a catch-22 scenario. So big but, if he does remain next season, he really needs to dig in and work harder. Number 2 striker. Our number 2 striker has been Jermaine Defoe. We know that Jermaine Defoe has signed a deal to be at Rangers next season. I'm not sure if Jermaine Defoe next season will be second or third choice striker. Now, if I'm looking at what an ideal second choice striker brings, I'm looking for something different to the number 1 striker. What you want to have during a game is, if things aren't working in your favour, you want to be able to change it. You want to be able to mix it up. And there's no point in having a very similar striker on the bench and bringing on like for like and ultimately doing the exact same thing and hitting the exact same walls. Jermaine Defoe is different. He's a penalty box striker. He'll literally get you goals. He does offer that something different, and for that reason, I'm torn on Defoe because I like that variety. I like what he brings, especially off the pitch. I think he's an excellent influence, particularly in the younger players. It's something that when Steven Gerrard signed Kyle Lafferty, when he first took over, I think he was hoping that the experience of Kyle Lafferty would bring and be able to share with the younger players. And obviously Kyle didn't do that. Jermaine does. Huge importance in the dressing room and in the squad, but maybe not as number 2 striker next year, maybe as number 3. Controversially, I don't know if I'd have given Defoe a contract. I don't know what he's on, but I don't think he's going to be on here for peanuts. I think we could have potentially got somebody who could have contributed a bit more, because certainly when Jermaine Defoe did play in games, there was times where, as a penalty box striker, he doesn't have that ability to create something out of nothing. He relies on the ball played to him in the box for him to score the goals. And my biggest criticism, and I'm not going to go into formations, is we didn't change our style to accommodate the fact that we had someone different to Alfredo up front. So I'm happy that next season we'll have Alfredo Morelos, Jermaine Defoe as our first and probably a second choice striker. Now, third choice striker. If you look at the players last season, we had Florian Kamberi on loan from Hibs, Greg Stewart, who isn't a natural number 9 but certainly has played there in the past and could play there. And from a young player perspective, we probably don't have anyone in the development squad who's ready to step up. A lot of people will look at Nathan Young-Coombs, for example, because of his success in the Alcas Cup a couple of years ago, but we have to remember that Nathan Young-Coombs is only 17. He's not ready yet to step up to the first team, so I'm going to rule him out. But what I am going to say about Nathan Young-Coombs is we need to make sure we don't fall into the same trap that we always do with young players, whether it's Zach Rudden or Ryan Hardy, that are young players with huge potential. We look to them as the next big thing, but when they eventually do get their chance, they're not ready. There is an argument that even at 17, we could be looking to loan Nathan Young-Coombs out. I'm not an expert in youth. I'll leave that to some of the other guys on Twitter like Spates and Bear, Willie. who watches Rangers youths regularly and will be able to pass much better judgment than me. I'm not sure whether we'll keep him in the development squad next year and have him around the first team, learning from guys like Jermaine Defoe, or whether it's better for him to go out and get some first team football. But I'm going to park Nathan Young-Coombs. I'm going to think about what a typical third choice striker looks like for me. In my opinion, it's offering something different to the first and second choice. So it could either be a young promising striker, somebody who can learn from the guys ahead of him, like Jermaine Defoe, or it can be a big target man. And I think we've been caught a lot of times where teams sit deep against us, and we struggle to break them down. And I think it'd be good to be able to play a target man, to be able to mix things up, lodge balls into the box. We've got some great delivery available to us when you look at James Tavernier, Borna Barisic. These guys are all excellent at putting the ball in the box, but we don't have anyone who's that target man able to get on the end of them. So for me, I'd be looking for a target man as a third choice striker for next season. And when you go back to Florian Kamberi and Greg Stewart, none of them are a target man. Both of them actually probably spent most of their time playing not in the number 9 position. So I'm going to rule them out of number 9. I'm also going to say I wouldn't sign Florian Kamberi because he's not my third choice striker, and I'm going to come on to the number 10 positions tomorrow night. I think we can look elsewhere for somebody to play back up to the 2 number 10s that I'm going to talk about tomorrow. That's not Kamberi. But one thing I would say, and I think everyone agrees with me, he came in and done excellent for Rangers, considering he was a loanee from Hibs and not a first choice striker at Hibs. I think that Kamberi done very well, and I think huge respect to him. Thank you for his services. But I do think we will only bring in Kamberi next year if we're really struggling for alternatives, and that probably will only come from a financial constraint if the football industry has continued to be impacted the way that it has under COVID-19. So that rules Kamberi out. I'm also going to rule Greg Stewart out. I don't think he's a number 9. I don't think he should be third choice striker. And I also don't think that he should be our backup number 10 either. Controversial because I think Greg Stewart didn't get as much game time as he potentially deserved. When he came on, he never let us down. I thought Greg Stewart was excellent. He's got that vision. Lacks a bit of pace, but certainly got that vision and that ability to pick a pass. Scored a good few important goals as well. Feel for Greg Stewart because he didn't get his chance. Another good blue nose. But this is a time to win trophies. It's not a time for sentiment. Greg Stewart's not good enough. And for me, I wouldn't be surprised if he does move on. So, number 3 striker is up for grabs, which brings me on to the last topic of the evening, which is transfer targets. So, in the window so far, end of season so far, we've probably been linked with 2 strikers that immediately spring to mind, and they are Lyndon Dykes of Livingston and Florin Andone of Brighton Hove Albion. The thing that both players have in common is they're both target men. So I'm predicting, based on my theory, that that's something that Steven Gerrard and his coaching team and most likely Ross Wilson are currently looking for in a third choice striker. And for that reason, it doesn't surprise me that those are the players that we're looking at. Now, Lyndon Dykes done excellent last year for Livy. He scored an absolutely fantastic goal against Celtic, and I've got a mate that's a Queen of the South fan and said that he was huge at Queen of the South. He was excellent at Queen of the South, although didn't get the goals that he deserved, and that was most common because he was a second striker playing off a number 9 and he was the one laying off. So I think we've historically looked at the SPL in terms of picking up these kind of players, and it wouldn't surprise me if we signed Dykes, but the market in Scotland and down south is inflated, and I just wonder if we can get better value than Lyndon Dykes elsewhere. I wouldn't be disappointed with him because I do think he'll be that second, third choice. I think he's capable of doing what we are doing, but I do think in the season 19-20 we didn't have players that were capable of coming on and changing the game. And I really think that if we do sign that third choice striker, that target man, we need to be able to rely on him to come onto the pitch and change the game and mix it up for us. So he's certainly a name in the frame. Wouldn't be disappointed, but I don't think he's going to be our first choice. Florian Andone, I literally know nothing about him. I know he's a big guy. I know that he's on the books of Brighton. I know that he was signed for a decent fee, but didn't really cut it. And he was loaned out to Turkey last year. The rumour is he's available for around £5 million. Where's the money coming from? It wouldn't surprise me if we went and signed someone like Florian Andone, someone we've not heard of because of the connections that likes of Ross Wilson has, particularly down south. So another name to watch. Now, there have been a few names mentioned in January and beforehand that I would shout out as well. One of them is Mirko Maric. So Maric is a striker that plays for Osijek, who we know very well in Croatia. Again, I don't know much about him. I think he's about 25, but I think again he's a target man. The one thing I'd say about Maric is I think that interest probably ended when Mark Allen left the club. Don't know, purely speculative, but Mark Allen was an expert in Croatian football. So I would probably rule that one out because I think Ross Wilson probably has his own network and his own ideas of what to look for. So I'm going to rule that one out. The second one is Lyle Taylor, who plays for Charlton. He's out of contract. We were linked with him in January. I know nothing about Lyle Taylor other than he scored a lot of goals at the clubs that he's been at. I would find it hilarious to sign Lyle Taylor just to get up Lee Bowyer. I'm not that petty though. Or am I? I'm going to rule Lyle Taylor out. I don't think he is the target man that we're looking for. I think we've scouted him. I think there was genuine interest there, but I don't think it's going to be Lyle Taylor. Which brings me on to the last name in the frame, and it's the name that I think most of us will be familiar with, and it's Matej Vydra. We obviously wanted Vydra in January. He is at Burnley just now. We had a bid a financial agreement made, but Burnley said they didn't want to lose him without a replacement, and obviously they couldn't bring somebody in so close to the end of the transfer window, which was disappointing for us because I believe Vydra then went on, had a few games for Burnley and scored some goals. I think we'll still be interested in Vydra. I'm not sure whether Vydra is a number 9 and whether we'd bring him in as a penalty box striker. When I watch Vydra, and I've not watched enough of him, he reminds me a bit like Waghorn, somebody who's good with the ball. He knows where the goal is, but probably somebody who can't lead that line. One of the things that Warburton certainly done with Waghorn was play him out wide sometimes, and I think our formation, I'm not going to get into formations, with the two number 10s that aren't wingers, and should be having a free role inside forwards, coming in behind the striker, potentially suits someone like Matej Vydra. And for that reason, I don't think we'll sign him as a centre forward, but I think we could sign him as, say, a left-sided number 10. So I'm going to say that he's in contention. I've called him out just now because I think if I didn't call him out in the centre forward section, people would say, what about Vydra? I think he's probably still in the frame. We probably are still interested. We probably will still bid for him, but we probably would play him as a left number 10. So I'm going to rule him out for the third choice striker position. We're going to go back to the target man. One to watch. Very exciting transfer window. There's not much else to be excited about right now. Let's be honest, we're all stuck indoors, dreaming of being back at Ibrox. So yeah, we'll keep speculating about the transfers. We'll be excited about who we do bring in as a third choice centre forward. I do think it's going to be a target man. One to watch this space. Alright, well, thank you very much for watching tonight's show. I said I was going to be under 10 minutes. I'm literally about hit 20, so apologies. I just love talking about Rangers, quite frankly. But that's it for tonight. Stay safe, everyone. Stay staunch.